So, hello there, welcome back to another video on Metasploit all the things. It's continued series for the course Advanced Network Exploitation Experts. If you are unaware, go to below website and yeah, you can find all the information against the same. The course helps everyone to prepare for the certifications like OSCP or anything which is equivalent to that. Few of the modules are already complete and we are somewhere with the auxiliaries for the submodule of Metasploit all the things. We are already done with the Venom and basics, and auxiliaries are something we will be looking further. So let's get started with the practical approach to make more understanding and sense. The first and foremost, auxiliaries are nothing but a modules or a scripts written in a Ruby and a Python, and those scripts helps Metasploit framework to integrate functionality of scanning, information gathering, fuzzing, and sniffing. With some additional validation scripts, it also performs some small attacks. However, it will not going to give you the shell. Basically, any exploits or any script will not going to give you the remote code execution or command execution against your victim service. So let's get started. The auxiliaries helps to identify possible exploitation of a particular vulnerability or misconfigurations, and those are really helpful during the successful attack. To understand it in a better way, it's always recommend to go and check Metasploit auxiliary modules or auxiliary uh, directory. So the best way would be to navigate from your console. So cd slash user share Metasploit framework and modules. Perfect. Here all the different modules which Metasploit offers, and the one which we are currently working on is auxiliaries. Perfect. So here Metasploit offers a different folder structure, and based on what those scripts are divided into. So first and foremost, this example.py and example.rb are written in a Ruby are the example scripts which can help anyone to build their own scanner, build their own scripts. So there are so many scripts available within the Metasploit framework that we will be focusing today. If you go to below page, which you can find in a comment probably or in the description itself, what you'll get is a detail, a little information about all the different folders and what those folder contains. So the first and foremost is of course admin, and what it's gonna do or what it will gonna contain is the administrator or administrative service, I would say. So let's go inside that folder. Let's just take a look into that folder in order to understand in a better way. So what I'm gonna do, ls admin. Let's see. So within the admin there are different services or different folders, I would say. So let's navigate to, let's say, mysql. So admin mysql would be the fine one, and it has one mysql underscore sql.ruby, and another one is for the enumeration, of course. But let's see what this mysql dot underscore sql will gonna contain. So the better way would be is to just read it. Get and the file name here. If you read the description, what it says, this modules allows for simple SQL statements to be executed against a MySQL instance. So basically what it's gonna do is it will gonna connect to MySQL, same how your client connects, and it will perform some administrative task, basically remote management, I would say. So all those services or all those folder which are listed here within this admin will going to contain some code, not a code, but we can say like a service interaction or service management scripts. So let's take another example. I would like to go into, let's say, SCADA. The SCADA has some different scripts that can help to perform some actions against the specific service. Similarly, there is TFTP, TikiWiki, and so on and so forth. What it gonna do? It will gonna connect to their admin console or connect to that particular service in order to perform various actions. So all those administrator or administrative services will gonna be inside the admin. The second here is analyze. What is gonna contain is some analyzer, or what I found is there are more hash crackers. If you have Windows hash, Linux hash, what you can do, you can just provide it to analyze, and it will gonna perform straight away from your Metasploit console. So if I just say, hey, show me all the analyze scripts, and it has, if you see, this crack AIX databases, Linux, Windows, web app, Windows, and so on and so forth. If I take a look for this Linux, cat cat I scroll up, reading description would be sufficient to understand based on what our current need. So this U module uses John the Ripper or a hashcat to identify weak passwords that have been required. So basically what it's gonna do, it will just decrypt or crack it, not to decrypt of course, it will gonna crack it and give you the result straight away. So go and try to read in order to understand it further. You can make your own as well for the different formats if you find. The third is BNAT. BNAT, it is for the BNAT routers. If you want to know about more about this BNAT, you can navigate to this particular GitHub link and you'll get most of the information. Client, our client is a folder where some services client like SMTP, email sender, or there are some others. So let's navigate quickly. LS client, there are some. So let's navigate to Telegram itself, as it's somewhere in my history. So here we have, what we're gonna do is send a message. So let's take a look. Oops, cat, there we go. So this module can be used to send document or a message to multiple chats on Telegram. So what it's gonna do, it has some client written in Ruby and implemented or written on top of this Metasploit framework libraries. You can go check, try it, and yeah, whatever is required for this course I'll gonna surely include in practical sessions, but right now it is still the basics. So understanding basic is really required. There is a folder for the cloud where AWS and Kubernetes are the target services, where you can find information or scan those particular services. So if I ls cloud, here we have. So if I see what's inside this AWS, it will gonna enumerate EC2 instance as well as the S3, and IAM would be just validating whether or who the user are. So you can take a look, give it a try, and that should be perfect. Crawler is an interesting uh, folder, not a folder but module within the Metasploit. What it will gonna do, it will gonna perform the crawling activity. So if you have a target HTTP service running, if you run this crawler, what it will gonna do is it will gonna scan for hidden URLs and connect to that URL, go in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, right? So this is a Metasploit crawler. Let's just give it a try to understand how we can use, of course. So as usual, msf db run, which is the right way, or which would be the best way I found to start Metasploit. It will gonna connect database and all our actions, services, target, victim will be loaded automatically. So if I just type services, all my session details would be there, right? So let's take it further. We know that target has 80 port running. What I'm gonna do, I'll use this crawler, use auxiliary crawler and msf crawler. The alternate way to use this MSF crawler is just to type use MSF crawler. You can do both. It will automatically find the appropriate script based on the name you provide, and it will gonna use. So let's move ahead. Options, it will require rhost or set rhost. If I hit tab, it will gonna tell me what are the target available, and I'll say target would be 10.0.0.18. Of course 17 is the one my current machine IP address, so it will be again within this Metasploit framework. Our port, I would go with the 80 itself, and let's run it. Here we go. It automatically started scanning all the different URLs or pages available within the same. So you can check if you find something in a red or different color, probably that could be interesting. So yeah, just give it a try, understand if that might find useful to you. Then yeah, we are the lucky one. There are some for the docx. What it's gonna do is it will gonna work against the .x format, and it will gonna perform some attacks against the same. So let's see what that docx contain. So cd, we are already in auxiliary, so I'll just go with the ls, and this docx. Perfect. So there is only one exploit for the docx, which is UNC injector. It is useful for gathering this NTLM hash and all. So if I just type cat docx and this file, the only one script available within that module section, what it tells, this module modifies a docx file that will be, upon opening, submit a stored NTLM credential to a remote host. So yeah, it is something related to the same. You start your SMB server and it will run automatically fine. In order to get the hash, the auxiliary server capture SMB module can be used. So if you don't want your SMB server to be running or responder to be running, you can use this particular auxiliary, which is to capture the SMB requests. The DOS is denial of service against different services. So if I just ls and DOS, here the different services it offers. So for example, I want to DOS a particular, let's say HTTP. So it will gonna contain different HTTP DOS scripts. Let's move ahead with the others. We already done with this example.py and example.ruby. Those are the example scripts written in a Python and Ruby. So if you are more comfortable in a Python, you can follow the example.py, or the Ruby is your choice. The file format is something used to create different files which could help during an attack. So let's see what are the files. File format. Here, the bad PDF, of course, based on the name, we can say it will gonna generate bad PDF file that will perform some attack. That is something that later on we'll gonna look. The second one is ODT file. Multi-drop is another one, so you can give it a try, check, and you might find it useful during an attack. The next is fuzzers. Fuzzers are, of course, performing fuzzing against various services. It's gonna send randomized payloads, randomized characters in order to maybe break your target service. And yeah, let's see what are the fuzzers available. So ls fuzzers, and here some are for the DNS, some are for FTP, HTTP, and the other protocols. Give it a try, check if you can fuzz your target, but this is of course the basics. We are just understanding the different section, different options, different modules that are available within the framework. Gather is something used for gathering information. So let's see what are the gather scripts. Gather, and here we have, it will gonna perform, of course, the information gathering, or OSINT, or passive recurrence, you can assume for. It can be it can, or it might include the active recurrence. It is not something like always the passive, but the main motto here to gather the information of your victim could be your IP, victim could be your URL and whatnot. So based on what you can choose the particular script. Moving ahead with the the file parser to identify information. So there is only one parser what I'm aware till the time. So if I just ls to this parser, it contains unattend file or unattend.ruby. What we're gonna do, it will gonna use this unattend file that you provide and parse it to find the password. This unattend file is something used during the sysprep when Windows is being prepared, right, for auto installation in multi-organization. So this is the common file that we find with the hard-coded credential. So this is something interesting. Take a look and should be perfect. PDF section is for the PDF reader attacks. So if I just ls to this PDF, it'll gonna have the different readers. Foxit is one of the PDF reader for which it has auth bypasser. So just give it a try. If you manage to, then you're lucky one. Scanner are, of course, the scanners for which works on active recurrence or active scanning against different services. So if I ls scanners, there are so many scanners, of course. So let's say I want to take a look for not MySQL, let's go with the HTTP. It has so many. If I say FTP, it has so many. One of the FTP, we know that anonymous.rb, which is FTP anonymous login. What we're gonna do, it will gonna check anonymous login. So if I just go to my Metasploit, use anonymous, and hit enter, it should automatically load it. But if it finds some multiple with the same search, then it might not use the same. So what you can do is you can manually type the full path, or you can specify the ID. So I'll say use 1, or sorry, 0, and oops, here we go. I'll specify my set rhost as 18, and let's run it. Hope my victim machine is running. Yes, it is. What it says, anonymous read, write, exec, and privileges are there. Read and write privileges. Also, it discloses the server version. So interesting information that might be useful during a successful attack. Server offers different servers that helps during an attack, as we saw earlier with one of the modules, that it will gonna use this SMB, right? So if I take a look here, scroll up a bit here, what it offers, auxiliary server capture SMB. So what it's gonna do, it will create SMB server which will listen for SMB protocol, of course, and when it gets SMB connection, it will gonna list down the same. So server offers different servers directly implemented in your Metasploit framework. So if I just type ls and servers, it will offer different servers, of course. So some are for the capture activity, capturing multiple things, and some are for the socks. Socks is something that we're gonna use, of course, and the SMB is capturing too. Also, it offers FTP servers. If you run this FTP server, then you can transfer your files and perform various attacks. The SOX proxy is something which will gonna run a SOX proxy directly from through your Metasploit, which will be routed from your Metasploit itself. When we will take it further with the practical, it will make more sense. But just keep a note that server will gonna offer different server that helps during a successful attack. Sniffers are the network sniffers. So it will gonna listen for, or it will gonna sniff the sensitive information over the network. So if I ls to the sniffer, it has only one for current time being, but that there might be more in the later. So what this will gonna do is, let's just read the description. Perfect. The description says that this module sniffs passwords like DSNIF did in the past. DSNIF is one of the old tools used to gather credentials from the plain HTTP request and other services, which is of course the non-encrypted one. And yeah, it works something similar in order to find the sensitive information. So it sniffs that. Spoof will gonna performs various spoofing attacks. So if I'll just list all the spoof, it offers ARP spoofing, LLMNR spoofing, NBNS spoofing, and some replay attack. When we'll take a look with the practical approach, it will make more sense. But just be aware with the various options. SQLI, of course, SQL injections against multiple exploit. VoIP are the servers for VoIP, voice over internet protocol. Scanners for voice over internet protocol services. So let's take a look. Here we have so different VoIP services against what we can perform some enumeration or scanning actions. Vsploit is additional section, I would say, in which you'll find some exploits, some malwares, and few other things. So if I just ls this Vsploit, here there is a section for exploit. Second is malwares. If I list malwares, it will all use the DNS protocol based on the name. And here we have DNS query, DNS use. It'll gonna maybe enumerate or do some activity. Once we read this description, it will make more sense. There are some other than this malware is PII. What it'll gonna do, so let's take a look with this web. So scrolling up, description says this module and emulates a web server leaking PII data. So what it will gonna do, nothing much. It'll gonna just like create one dummy scenario where sensitive data from the target organization is being sent over the HTTP protocol, right? So this is something for exfiltration specific, and maybe we're not gonna use it at all, but just do consider that there is a Vsploit as well, through which you can perform various actions. There are no exploits specific with the Vsploits at current time, but later on, if the author thinks to add more, of course he may. So yeah, it is not something that we're gonna look into all the different scanners or auxiliaries or exploit, but we're gonna give you a basic idea or the core knowledge in terms or in order to understand all the different aspects which could be implemented with, of course, your human brain. So that's it, that's all planned for this particular video. If you liked, of course, you can go subscribe, or you can of course hit that like, comment below if you need some more information against the same. And yeah, if you want to watch continuously, you can just hit that bell icon when you log in. Of course, I'm not logged in, but yeah, for other shorts video, there is a section or there is a playlist for the shorts. You can go navigate and you'll get basic information against the different services. So that's it, that's all, and yeah, see you next time.